top movie superheroes ever, Batman was created in 1939 by comic book artist Bob Kane, and the comics became a huge hit, giving rise to TV series in the 1940s and 1960s, and box office bonanzas in the 80s and 90s. Batman is an icon across generations.
I'm a Batman fan. The cartoon. Adam West. Kapow. For me, 89 Tim Burton. That's the best.
In 2005, British director Christopher Nolan breathed new life into the Bat brand with Batman Begins, the first of a new trilogy with Christian Bale, starring as a darker, more violent anti-hero.
What the hell are you?
I'm Batman.
The Dark Knight trilogy is one of the best trilogies in cinematic history.
Christopher Nolan's taken them into new and even darker places, and they are terrific films.
Batman Begins and its 2008 sequel, The Dark Knight, were both massive hits, raking in box office takings of more than $1 billion. In 2012, fans were desperate with anticipation at the prospect of the trilogy's conclusion. The Dark Knight Rises.
You've got Christian Bale, Anne Hathaway, Michael Caine and Tom Hardy as Bane.
Bat fans' first look at Hardy's Bane gave us a tantalizing glimpse of a violent supervillain. And with an epic battle on the cards, expectations were sky high.
So you came back to die with your city?
No. I came back to stop you.
The film staged a glittering premiere in New York days before its global release. And with the early reviews lavishing praise on the story's denouement, fans couldn't wait to get to the cinema to see it.
There's a few films that get announced that you're like, ooh, Batman, you're like, yeah, I love some of that.
In Aurora, Colorado, in the United States, the first screening of the film was set to take place at midnight on July the 20th, and the Century 16 cinema was packed with excited Bat fans.
It was a late night screening of Dark Knight, packed cinema.
Just after midnight, a man could be seen entering the cinema and purchasing a ticket to the film. As he has his ticket torn, he walks calmly away, giving no suggestion of what is about to happen. At 12:39 a.m., chaos erupted as he re-entered the cinema and let off a smoke grenade, before opening fire into the audience with an assault rifle, shotgun, and pistol.
When he burst in through the doors and started firing, they thought it was some kind of publicity stunt.
And not understanding that, oh my God, this is a real thing.
After the initial confusion, panic set in as staff scrambled to hide and panicked moviegoers fled the theatre for their lives. As the shooting continued, some shocking camera phone footage revealed the full horror of what had happened, with the shaky pictures showing disturbing images of dazed and bloodied victims wandering outside. After 6 minutes, in which he fired 76 shots, the gunman was arrested in the car park without resistance. The following day, police raided his apartment and found it was booby-trapped with chemicals and explosives.
This was horrendous.
I have an ex-girlfriend who thinks about that every time she goes to the cinema.
News of the attack quickly spread worldwide, and in the hours that followed, as the death toll was confirmed, speculation was rife about the motives behind the atrocity. The people of Aurora came together to mourn the lives lost, the latest tragedy in Colorado's history.
Desperate times, awful.
What can you say about that? It's just dreadful.
Rest in peace to everybody.
Director Christopher Nolan issued a statement in the aftermath expressing sympathy on behalf of the whole cast and crew, calling the tragedy unbearably savage, while Christian Bale issued his own statement of condolences. Warner Brothers cancelled subsequent and international premieres of the film, while both Bale and Nolan reached out to the local community.
Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale went to go and see the victims, the ones who survived, which I thought was a real class act from them both.
When something like that happens, it knocks the stuffing out of you.
After a lengthy trial process, in August 2015, the killer was sentenced to 12 life sentences, and with no chance of parole, will die in prison. No motive was ever established, and he offered no explanation. Despite no link being made between the atrocity and The Dark Knight Rises, one of the most anticipated films of the decade had now had a dark shadow cast over it.
Well, that film now is tied to this event.
People start sort of saying, you know, is it the film? Is it this? Is it that? But really, that was just an act of terrorism.
Bad people do bad things regardless of film and TV characters, regardless of video games. If a bad person wants to do a bad thing, they will do it.
I don't think they sat there and they thought, yeah, it's got to happen because of Batman, because, you know, it's inspired me to do this. I don't think that's the case.
It's just such a shame that The Dark Knight Rises is forever linked to the screening shooting.
It's a tragedy. Absolute tragedy.